Okay, so Tom just finished watching Hawkeye for the first time. I had already seen it, but we'll get his reaction. It's his first time seeing it.
I liked it, surprisingly, even though Jeremy Renner has diarrhea of the mouth about politics and stuff that he shouldn't be talking about, only because he's an actor. We don't care what he thinks.
Well, he's not alone there, so yeah. You
but what I'm saying is that...
But none of that bled over into his work.
No. But what it did do, especially for me, was I'm like, I don't want to watch this. It put me off to the whole idea of the show. And then on top of all the other Disney, Marvel...
All the backlash from the Disney Marvel. Yeah.
So it doesn't help the situation. If you're trying to make money, this isn't the way you do it. But I guess maybe they don't want to make money. And contrary to what others might have said, the Kate Bishop character wasn't a girl boss. She was annoying as fuck.
No, but she was consistent with what Kate Bishop is in the comic, and even I've seen in other iterations, like the Avengers video game. She's impetuous and spoiled rich girl and whatever else, and she played it well.
Yes. And the whole daddy issue thing and the Hawkeye dynamic. And I would have liked to have seen a scene where when he obviously is getting annoyed with her that she's around or whatever, where she just tells him, hey, the Battle of New York, I saw you. Jump off a building.
Yeah, it would have been nice for her to tell him that he was her inspiration. Yes.
So then he would have been like, oh, okay, instead of this, grumpy curmudgeon, I don't want to, she's the young one, I'm the old guy.
No, she would have just said, you're the reason I want to do this.
Yeah.
And here's why, and it's because when I was a child, you saved my life, and I watched you saving the city with your bow and arrow, and that's what inspired me to...
Yeah, they absolutely should have had that. That's
I mean, no pressure, Hawkeye, right?
But that's like writing 101.
No, but yeah, it would have been nice for him to know that about her.
Instead of just, okay. I like the dog. I did have a question about how when she found the dog, it was dirty and mangy, and then the next time you see it in the apartment, it's all clean and no real time lapse. But anyway, I thought Yelena was really good, especially the scenes between her and Kate.
Which did get a lot of mixed reactions. A lot of people didn't dig that, and I did.
No, in her apartment, and then when they were fighting at the last episode,
a lot of people didn't dig that, and I do remember seeing a lot of mixed response to that scene or that moment.
Because you can obviously tell that Yelena is like toying with her.
Yeah,
she's the cat, and Kate's the mouse in the tub.
And it just reinforced that it's not personal.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to hurt you. I got no interest in you unless you get in my way or anything. But no, I'm just here to kill Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Nothing personal.
So you just got to get the hell out of my way.
It's just business, and if you could help me, I'd appreciate it. If not, then stay out of my way. Otherwise, don't you got nothing to worry about with me, because I got no beef with you. I'm not getting paid to kill you.
And I went a completely different way with the mother. I thought she was just using the government resources from the Battle of New York recovery, damage control, right?
Right.
To refund her money and whatever the heck happened, which is what I thought was going on, and then
which may have been a factor. But
later on, it turned out what it was the Kingpin.
Turned out that the old man owed a lot of money to the Kingpin, and she was working it off.
Which is also nice that it was something that wasn't foreseen.
And it still makes you wonder what happened to him.
Yeah.
In the basement. Because they were both in the basement, and she came out, and he didn't, and that was before the building collapsed.
Yeah.
So there's,
Exactly. Did he? Did she kill him?
She might have gone down there and killed him because of the mess that he had gotten them into.
So I like that there was, how do I put this, cross-pollination between the characters, sort of like they do in the comic books. And I'm not talking the comic books from 2015 forward. I'm talking about the good comic books from the before time, from the long, long ago.
Right.
From 1961 to 2010. Let's call that the.
And I mean, even introducing Echo in the series.
Which, well, hold on, I thought that was an interesting character. So
connecting her to the Ronin.
Yeah, and so what happened?
That whole thing, resolving the whole thing with the Ronin in the post blip, it was appropriate, and I thought they did a good job with it.
And then
it all turned up on the black market.
Yeah, and then
Kate Bishop ended up getting her hands on the suit and having, like, you know, being seen in public in the suit.
Which that's the other thing is, like, what
drew Hawkeye into the picture.
What agency is letting this stuff go out to be sold on the black market? Is it S.H.I.E.L.D.? Is it remnants of Hydra? Is it just the typical corrupt government that we've got stuck with?
It could have just been unrecovered items that looters ended up getting their hands on. I mean, the only items in the auction that were identified as from the Avengers wreckage were the watch and the Ronin suit and sword. Other things were from other different sources. They weren't all... it wasn't like it was Avengers Mansion exclusive black market auction.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is still, it seems kind of odd, because even in remnants of S.H.I.E.L.D., or right after the attack, right after Tony dies and all this other stuff, wouldn't S.H.I.E.L.D., whatever's left of S.H.I.E.L.D., be all over that? To, like, secure the area?
Yeah, it's one of those vague things that it could have happened during the blip.
Well, no, because the fight.
And when everybody came back, the stuff was already missing because it had been 5 years, and the Avengers Mansion could have been left vulnerable enough.
Was that where they got the stuff, or was it after the fight in Endgame? The big battle, the big end battle in Endgame. That's where I perceived.
Oh, that was after everybody came back, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So that's why I'm saying, what government agency allowed this stuff to get put on the black market?
Well, I would buy it that
Contessa?
Some looters could have gotten to it before everybody was mobilized enough to go in there and recover it. Because after the blip, it would have taken some time to mobilize, you would think. When they came back, and all this stuff happened, and Thanos was dead, and all this stuff happened, and Tony was dead, and they had to deal with all that, it could have been some time before they mobilized enough to go in there, and people could have beat him to the punch. Some items. I'd buy that.
I still think it's very much a Hydra thing to make money.
Very much.
Yeah.
I mean, if there were active Hydra operatives, which there are, they would have had much, an incentive to go into Stark Tower, Avengers Tower, and see what they could recover.
But they could have been within the workings.
And they could have been within the workings of the recovery. Yes, and still infiltrated and
that's where all those drugs disappear to every year with every police station in the country. So anyway, that was that. So let's talk about the real problem of the show. All right,
which was
how they treated the Swordman.
Oh yeah, he got a raw deal.
Absolutely, because
I understand how they were trying to set him up as the prime suspect,
but you still could have
how he was played for a patsy, but
you could have written it so that
when it came out that he was being played all along, he should have
been like, I know,
been more indignant about it.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
Or hold on, or still be as flip as he is. He's like, I know what's going on when he was talking to Kate outside the building. I knew what was going on. don't worry about it. We got this stuff to deal with now. We'll talk about it later.
Right.
So, why? Yeah.
And he was just
too.
In the end, it turned out that he was just as clueless as he appeared to be,
which is a disservice because he was a cool character.
It seemed like that cluelessness was him putting on some kind of a front.
Yeah.
Because he was really the one doing it all, and all the evidence was pointing toward him, and all the signs and everything. And then in the end, it turned out he was just being played the whole time.
Which...
by Eleanor.
Yeah, but that's still... It just doesn't... And it doesn't feel right.
He should have been a little bit more upset about that than he was. I mean, he's the swordsman. I mean, come on. He's got that machismo ego of his.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been an affront to him that his fiancée, new wife, was playing him like that.
So he should have either been...
so it could have been treated... And, I mean, they could have even made him and Hawkeye have a history together. Which they do did.
In the comics.
Yes.
So...
I mean, it could have been a little bit just...
It's another missed opportunity
It just would have been a little bit more...
make the story stronger and the universe richer.
Right, that...
So it's still more superficial than it should be.
It would have just made it that much more faithful and consistent, which is what the fans, the true fans, the hardcores, appreciate.
Yeah.
And that, kind of bleeds out into the casual viewing audience because the fanboys like it.
Yeah.
So it must be decent.
Yes.
Anyway,
so it has
it was a shame.
Again, it has
I don't know if we're going to see him again, but I really like the guy that played it. I'd like to see more of him. I would just like to see him treated better.
So again, it is...
because he's a good actor.
The Last Jedi Effect. Because I think it's really been, even though it's been talked about a lot, it really is understated what the fuck that movie did to Disney. To Disney as a company. Not just Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, so this is how you're going to treat it.
No, it really did, hurt their credibility.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
And not just, the thing with Luke, but in so many ways.
Yes. So.
But.
It's a show you should watch.
It was a decent series. It was Hawkeye's post-blip experience. I think it was the last post-blip address thing in the streaming series, which was fine because by the time they got to it was the end of the year and the post blip was getting to the point where it had been a year since it had happened.
Yes.
So
the inappropriateness of Kate Bishop's daddy issues was on full display, and throughout the whole show, Eric can attest to this, that I was making crude and lewd and lascivious jokes and comments about her and her reactions, and every time Clint would do the smallest little thing would just make her go...
she would just be gushing.
Like a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
So, and that's not good for a leather outfit.
I mean, really... he was her hero, though.
Yeah.
And she was, doing something that... directly dealing with a caper right with him, and of course she's going to have that kind of a response to anything that he did that especially when most of what he did was to try to discourage her from even pursuing any of this shit.
Yeah. And it was great to see the Kingpin. I would have liked to have seen Daredevil at least just pop in real quick for a minute, even if it's just to talk to Hawkeye off screen. Just show up.
Yeah. But, with the 6-episode deal, they probably just wouldn't have had time to work that in. And the whole thing was, about Kingpin's history with Echo. So...
Did Daredevil show up in Echo?
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
And, wow.
And that, and there was an appearance.
So the deaf and the blind, Jesus Christ, they're really trying to get all the bingo spots on the card.
And It's funny because the advanced leaked footage of the Daredevil Echo fight scene was clearly unfinished, Yeah. And didn't look very realistic, and it was clearly unfinished. And then when you get to the actual edited, scene in context, it was a really cool fight. Yeah. It was really good. So and I love seeing Charlie Cox anyway, and he did have an appearance in the Echo series, and but again, most of the Echo series was about her and her relationship with the Kingpin and all that, and Daredevil was just a
footnote.
Fan service.
Well, that's all right. That's what you need.
But it was decent, though. It was decent fan service because there was a reason he was there, and it made sense. So there's that. I mean, we've seen Haley Steinfeld come back once in the post-credit of Marvel's recruiting Young Avengers.
Which that's not going to happen.
And we'll see by the time they get to it, they're all going to be 30.
So they aren't young anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what, the whole deal.
Just not going to happen.
And so far it looks like all the Young Avengers are all a bunch of young girls anyway.
Uh-oh.
And that may change because of the, changing of the climate in especially with Deadpool Wolverine.
In the afterglow of Deadpool and Wolverine. Huh? Good.
And they're talking about, we're seeing the end of the MCU, which we'll see if that actually comes to pass or not. But Marvel has laid off and fired a whole bunch of activist people that...
Allegedly.
But then, Disney overall has just done a whole bunch of layoffs too, so it may have been related to that.
Yeah.
And it may not be that, these activist people were targeted, they just happen to be on the list.
Aww.
Who knows? Anyway,
these activists need to go work at Walmart for a year or so, and then they can shut the front door about what the hell, how the world really is. Because they don't know. Because, in the next thing we're going to be talking about, you have a bunch of trust fund people who think they can write, who can't write their way out of a paper bag, thinking they're going to change the world or change the world to their socialist, fascist utopia. And no, not if you don't have a job. All right, share, and subscribe.
We don't want that. We just want a good story. Give us a good story.